Welcome to the explainer. So, you know that completely exhausting feeling where you're working your tail off every single day, you're constantly busy, and yet you never actually seem to be moving forward? You're running absolutely as fast as you can, just clearing out the inbox, answering a million messages, putting out fires left and right, but somehow you're stuck in the exact same place. Well, today we are going to fix that. We're leaning heavily into this incredible Day 7 concept from our source material, which is really all about how the absolute most successful people operate. You see, they don't just work harder, they think 5 moves ahead.
All right, let's just dive right in. The core paradigm shift of Day 7 is this. Most people are basically just living one day at a time. They wake up, they react to whatever the world throws at them, and then they just repeat the whole cycle tomorrow. But as our sources reveal, true success, it doesn't come from just working harder inside that endless reactive loop. It comes from having an intentional strategy. If you're only ever focused on today's problems, you are always going to be controlled by today's problems. So, you really have to ask yourself, are you building your life from a master blueprint, or are you just kind of making it up as you go?
It's literally the difference between playing checkers and playing chess. In checkers, you're living a reactive life. You're only thinking about the very next jump. It's all about busyness and just reacting to the immediate threat right in front of you. But in chess, great players are thinking several moves ahead. Every single decision they make today is meticulously designed to create a massive advantage for tomorrow. To win, we have to stop playing checkers with our time, our money, and our relationships.
Okay, so how does this chess player mindset actually play out in real life? Let's start with your wallet, because this is a big one. The very first move you have to make is recognizing a hard truth. True wealth is actually invisible.
Look, society pretty much trains us to measure success by what we can see. The luxury cars, the flashy watches, the designer clothes. We look at what someone spends and we just automatically assume, wow, they're doing great. But a strategic player, someone who is thinking 5 moves ahead, they know there's a massive difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is loud. It's all about today's income. Wealthy? Wealthy is quiet. It's about the money you choose not to spend. Money's greatest purpose isn't buying objects, it is buying options.
Let's put this into perspective. Think about 2 totally different people, the status seeker and the wealth builder. The status seeker might earn a great income, say 100 grand a year, but they're spending 95,000 of it just trying to look successful. Every single dollar is spoken for. If they lose their job, their entire world shakes. They're completely fragile. Then you've got the wealth builder. Maybe they only make an average income, like 50,000, but they've got a high savings rate of 20,000. They aren't trying to impress anybody. They just want to become free. They are resilient. They've captured the ultimate luxury, which is the time to sit back, think, and choose their next move without panicking.
Here's the really crucial point. Getting rich and actually staying rich, totally different games. Getting money is a skill that requires taking big risks, moving fast, being super optimistic. But staying wealthy requires humility, it takes patience, it's all about survival and leaving your ego completely out of the equation. Just one bad, overconfident decision can literally erase years of compounding progress. As the author Morgan Housel puts it, and I love this, wealth is what you don't see. It's the emergency fund, it's the untouched investments, it's the fancy car you purposely decided not to buy. So here is your first real challenge from this explainer. I want you to open your bank statement this month. Find just one expense that is designed purely for status. Yep, even that overpriced subscription box you never actually use. Cut it. Redirect that money and pay your future self first. Stop building a lifestyle that traps you and start building a future that liberates you.
All right, moving on from finances, we've got to look at the absolute engine driving all of this, right? Your brain. How do you actually train your mind to play the long game? How do you overcome the brain's hardwired, completely natural desire to just take the easy way out? Think about it. Almost every little decision we make every day is subtly guided by this one primal instinct, just avoiding discomfort. Your mind wants to conserve energy. It wants to keep you perfectly safe. But when you only ever do what feels easy, you are essentially training your mind to become incredibly fragile. The absolute smallest obstacle starts to feel completely overwhelming. Comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. The life you actually want rarely exists inside your comfort zone. It's kind of like a blacksmith forging a sword. You don't get super strong steel by just leaving it sitting around in a nice, cool, comfortable room, right? No way. That metal has to be shoved into intense, scorching heat. It gets struck by a heavy hammer over and over and over again. And that heat and pressure, they don't destroy the steel. They transform it. Well, your mind works the exact same way. It desperately needs the intense pressure of difficult tasks to build resilience. Every single challenge you're currently trying to escape might actually be the very thing preparing you for the person you're capable of becoming.
And actually, this mental fragility directly feeds into what Cal Newport calls the myth of being busy. We spend our entire day just furiously swiping away notifications, answering a flood of emails, and bouncing between random tasks. We trick ourselves into thinking we're being productive, but honestly, we're just avoiding the deep discomfort of hard work. Every time you switch your attention, your brain suffers from this thing called attention residue, which completely destroys your ability to produce any meaningful results. Your greatest achievements are never going to come from scattered attention. They absolutely demand periods of intense, uninterrupted concentration. So here is your mental challenge for today. I want you to pick just one uncomfortable action to build up that discipline. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Push for one extra set in your workout. Or commit to 90 minutes of pure, uninterrupted deep work with your phone completely in another room. Every single time you choose discipline over comfort, you're becoming a significantly stronger player for the long game. But hey, thinking 5 moves ahead, it's not just about your bank account or locking yourself away for deep work. Let's talk about our third strategic domain, our relationships, specifically how we handle those really high-stakes interactions. Whenever you walk into a really tense conversation, the other person is almost always carrying assumptions, fears, and negative stories about you before you even open your mouth. So the ultimate 5-move strategy here is this brilliant technique called the accusation audit. Instead of just ignoring the awkwardness or getting super defensive, you anticipate their assumptions and you totally disarm them before a single argument is even made. You actually say their fears out loud first. You literally just start by gently saying something like, "Hey, you probably think I totally ignored your concerns," or "It might seem like I only care about my own interests here." By just embracing that awkwardness head on and saying these uncomfortable things out loud, you completely neutralize their emotional impact. You're basically acting like a highly skilled defense attorney, bringing up the messy facts before the opposition can even use them against you. And surprisingly, instead of attacking you, the other person will almost always soften up and correct you, saying something like, "Well, no, it's not actually that bad." It stops them from getting defensive, because let's face it, people just do not listen when they're busy protecting themselves. The negotiation expert Chris Voss actually points out that acknowledging someone's emotions, it doesn't mean you agree with them, it just shows you see their perspective. And when people finally feel understood, they stop preparing for a fight and start becoming genuinely willing to listen. So here's your relationship challenge. Right before your very next difficult discussion, take a second to write down the absolute worst assumptions they might have about you. Then calmly state them right at the very beginning of the chat. Seriously, just watch how incredibly fast the tension disappears. Okay, so we've tackled finances, we've looked at the mind, and we've covered relationships. Now, let's tie this whole shebang together with the Days 7 philosophy. It is time to build the ultimate master blueprint for your future. We are officially stopping the reacting and starting the architecting. Seriously, I want you to grab a blank sheet of paper today, like right after this, and walk through this simple procedure. First, write down your absolute biggest professional or personal goal, right at the top of the page. Next, list out the exact next 5 actions you need to take to reach it. For every single one of those actions, identify the biggest obstacle you might face. And finally, write down exactly how you will respond when, not if, but when, that obstacle appears. This right here, this is how you build a blueprint before you build your future. Now let's be real. Having this blueprint and knowing your next 5 moves doesn't mean everything's going to go perfectly. Life is still going to throw crazy surprises at you. But it guarantees that you won't completely panic when things go wrong. Because while everyone else around you is scrambling and reacting, you're already going to know your next move. Preparation takes uncertainty and turns it into just unshakable confidence. The future belongs to those who prepare the smartest, not the ones who just react the fastest.
So it is absolutely time to stop playing checkers with your life. Stop letting your ego drain your wallet, stop letting comfort weaken your mind, and stop letting unsaid fears completely ruin your relationships. The board is set. You know the strategy.